Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all your pets, the Braintrust is back due to popular demand. Last week's show was a big hit with our audience, so we decided let's bring the whole gang back and do this all over again because we had so much fun. Lots of stuff going on. We just had the debate. China's going wild, oil's going wild, utility stocks are acting like AI stocks. Bitcoin is a big question, so we brought in the crew to find out what is going on in this market. So how's everybody doing today? We'll start with you, Derrick. Since you were the champion of two truths and a lie last week, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. The moves from this China market is just creating so much opportunity. Shorting that gap up this morning was just like, to me, it was like an A+ home run trade to whack those names this morning. And I shorted Futu, JD, Baba, Yin, Tiger, just a whole slew of them on size, and were able to catch some really big moves. And that's after getting out of the longs. Just yesterday, I got out of my JD long, my final pieces of it. So I couldn't be happier. Market's been great.
Okay, Sami, how are you doing? All right, so we're just going to jump right into the China discussion. Like we'll skip all the introductions. Sami, you've been super active in China. In our weekly live streams, we've been talking about China every week for months now. So what are your thoughts on China here with the FXI up 45% year to date?
I was thinking, Derrick is shorting all the stocks I'm in. I'm only half joking because I am in some of the names that he mentioned. I think there's a potential for the yen to be topping out, or the FXI to be topping out today, depending on how we close. I noticed that a lot of the stocks, the individual stocks in the China sector, are really weak, even though the FXI, I use the yen, the YINN, which is the leveraged FXI, is not so weak. I mean, yen looks higher right now. It's doing a buy setup as we speak. But I noticed a lot of stocks, like I'm in the EDU, I'm in the MNSO. These are the low of the day. So there is potential for China to be topping today in the short term at least, but it will all depend on how the FXI or the yen closes. Right now, it's not looking like it's going to close very weak, by the way, FYI. But we'll see. But yeah, loving the action in the China sphere, the China sector, and the plays are doing marvelous. We also did the opposite of the China trade that Derrick did, which is shorting a novice gap. We played the Humana long this morning in the room, and Humana is the opposite of China. It was a gap down that was way overdone. It's a rookie gap down basically, so we played it long. It's exactly the opposite. Right now, I just called a few minutes ago, I called the Joby long, so that's off to a good start. We'll see. Really, really good day, honestly.
JR, what do you make of this whole China situation?
I agree with both of these guys. The move is overdone, and China markets are closed until the 7th. If you're finally letting Tom Lee and David Tepper get to your head, you're chasing the move, and you're most likely going to be finding some form of a Wall Street religion here very shortly. That being said, China is taking a bazooka, a quantitative bazooka to its economy, and I think there's probably more upside, but you're going to have to wait for viable technical pullbacks to get involved. When China goes stimulus, I really like to buy copper and crude. And we were in FCX about 10 days ago for a nice move. And, this morning I didn't really fade the Chinese names. I was busy trading Tesla pre-market for their deliveries drop. That was a nice short. Went shorted to Nike earnings yesterday for a beautiful drop. And this morning we've shorted the Qs right to its pivot low anchored VWAP, where we got an amazing bounce and reverted to the long side for a nice place. So not the easiest market to trade this morning. The market has is testing lows, testing levels of support, and what I think is going to be a more extended move to the downside in short order. But it's still a day trader's market.
Okay. All right. Everybody, let us know in the chat where you are watching from. You can tell us geographically or which VTF you're in. Let us know where you are from. The comments are coming in. Scoop is saying the Three Wise Men episode 2. Our friend Wilson says the Kung Fu is strong with these three. And our friend Paula just says hello. Okay, so we're going to come on to our
Mike, I just want to add on to the China conversation also with what these guys just said. I just want to, even though I'm shorting and I shorted the hell out of these Chinese names off the open, I'm a bull on the space. It's just that it's gone too far, too fast into these levels where for me it creates a day trading opportunity on the other side, even though I would big picture rather be long than short. And then it circles back to exactly what JR was saying. It's about the setup, because if you're buying here today for anything more than a quick day trade scalp, if that comes in, I think that you're just totally chasing price. So we gotta let these things set up a little bit better to reestablish those longs, and then the amount of the move in such a short period of time, I thought just created a phenomenal short-term shorting opportunity this morning.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Derek. And guys, we are going to get to the energy sector because we feel like that's something people aren't really talking about. JR brought that up, but energy is taking off to start off the new quarter. And just to say hi to the crowd, we got Wilson in the Starship Chimichanga. I know he's in the Momentum Express VTF with JR. I can tell just by that. Pittsburgh, Fort Lauderdale, Arizona, Texas, more Texas. Okay, guys. All right. So now it's time for the game because Sami lost his title last week. Sami's very, very upset. So he's back for revenge on Derrick, who stole the title last week. We have Amy from North Carolina, Seattle, Detroit, Virginia. So, guys, thank you for interacting. Again, now it's time for see who is the champion. So we're going to make 3 statements. 1 is a lie. Try to guess the lie. Okay, which one of these is the lie? Google is the worst Mag 7 name year to date. Number 2, SMCI is up year to date. Number 3, NVIDIA is the number 1 QQQ stock year to date. Type the number of the lie in the chat because we're going to have a people's champion and then one champion among our guys. JJ gives us 3. Derek, Sami, JR, do you have a guess?
I think SMCI is up year to date.
That's not a lie. It is.
Which one's the lie, right? Okay, so then I'm going to say...
Let me see.
Number 1 is the lie.
Which other one would be down worse than Google this year? So Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Tesla. And then what else? Anything else? So Google, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, Amazon.
NVIDIA.
It's between Amazon and Google, and Amazon's way up. And so Google is the worst. I think it is the worst name. So I'm going with number 3 is the lie.
How is NVIDIA not the number? Oh, you know what? In all of the Qs, I was thinking Mag 7.
Remember, Constellation Energy has been going up like crazy, and it is in the Qs. Okay, so Sami, your guess is number 3?
Yes, sir.
All right, Derek, what's your guess?
I want to take a step back on what I said, but I already said it, so I'll just stick with 1 and give Sami a shot at the title.
Okay. All right, JR?
I don't know. I'm terrible at trivia.
You're supposed to just say a number. You got a 33% chance of winning the lotto here.
All right, let's go with number 3.
Okay, so the champion is still Derrick Oldensmith.
Oh, my Lord. It is a lie. What's worse than Google this year?
Look, you could see it right on the screen. Google's done better than Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla.
Oh, wow.
I thought Tesla could be worse.
Really?
It's been on a run recently, but I thought it could be worse.
So this is...
Oh, yeah, you're right. Tesla's only break even on the year. You're right.
See?
I said I looked it up. I just didn't even look up Tesla. I looked up the other name.
You can't look it up.
Look up the chart. I mean, not look up.
Michael, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. All right. Come on.
Look up the chart.
Next week, everybody's going to have their Chat GPT lined up to.
Right. I wasn't doing Chat GPT. I was looking at the chart.
This isn't Vietnam. There are rules. We can't just be doing whatever we want. And of course,
cheating and still lost. That really says something.
Yeah.
Oh
our friend our friend Wilson Chase is the people's champion. Congratulations, Wilson. But yeah, so Derek is undefeated this season. JR seems to have lost his spirit, and now I can't even trust Sami. So I don't know what the hell the world is coming to. What a mess.
That's stock trading.
Okay. I hear you, Sammy. Okay, so let's talk about these utility stocks, because these sort of come out of nowhere and are destroying everything. A lot of these companies like Constellation Energy, I believe TLN, I think, is another one, making deals with AI companies because these AI apps use so much freaking electricity and they are going wild. So, JR, I'll throw this to you first because we talked a lot about this last week, sort of these ancillary plays on AI. So, do you think this move might have legs? I mean, after a 29% run?
As a secular trend, it's only begun. As a cyclical trend, it's overdone and needs to pull back.
Okay.
Purely from a technical perspective.
All right, Sammy, what are your thoughts on these wild utility stocks?
Yeah, if you look at the chart of XLU on the daily time frame, you'll see that it's just a slow, steady grind up. I never ever bet against that kind of trend ever, and I never tried to predict the top because it's just a grind up. So to me, yeah, it still looks higher until it accelerates. Then maybe not, but for now it's just grinding up, so it looks okay.
All right, and Derrick, are you participating at all, or you're just focused on China and other things?
I don't really trade the utilities too often just because they tend to be a little bit more slower moving. But looking at the chart here, and obviously I'm pretty sure it's the best sector of the year of 2024. I just totally agree with what both of these guys just said. I'm not going to come in and it's almost hard to even describe XLU buying at 8150 as a chase because it's on a 45-degree angle. Like Sammy said, it's not like there's extension here, like you're buying the Chinese names today that you're chasing extension. You're not really chasing extension here, but I also don't want to come in this late on the move, yet I'm not shorting something that's just riding an 80 MA on a 45-degree up angle with a clear underlying bid to it, unless you begin to see some sort of, upside acceleration, upside capitulation that can increase extension and make a tradable setup to the short side.
Okay, so our friend Ryan is asking a good question. So too late for China and utilities. What is it not too late for? We will get to that shortly. And Wilson, of course, is saying Sammy's so calm and analytical, a true assassin. True, because I know he has his eyes on me right now. So I know I'm going to be in trouble. Okay, let's talk about energy. So at the end of Q3, Goldman Sachs started talking about a potential short squeeze in energy because hedge funds were shorting energy stocks highest level in many, many years, shorting versus longs at like a 6-to-1 ratio. So I want to get your thoughts on energy because there's also a lot of small cap energy, uranium names just ripping to the upside to start off Q4. So whoever wants to jump in, let's go. Sammy?
Sure. So if we look at, can I take over the chart here? Yeah. If we look at USO, that's oil, right? If we look at the USO, it's not a very pretty chart at all. I'm trying to zoom in. Okay, let's do it. Wow, my chart is frozen. Here we go. This is not a very pretty chart at all on the daily time frame, meaning on the way up, if it were to go higher, and notice that's the 20-period moving average is starting to point up. So that's nice, but on the way up, you have multiple levels of resistance above. You want to take a trade where there is a tradable void above, no resistance, clear, clean air above. If we look at the monthly on USO, why is it, okay, I know why it's messed up like this because of the reverse split that the USO did. You see there's a monthly buy setup. We have 3 red bars in a row to support, and now we're taking out the last month's bars, the last month's bars high, whatever. So that's a monthly buy setup, but it's a flat 20. So that tells me there's not much momentum. There's not going to be much momentum in oil. That it's not a bad area to buy it, but it's not really going to generate that explosive move that a lot of people probably are expecting because of the wars in the Middle East and whatever, and Russia and Ukraine. There are a couple of names that when I was looking at oil that I really like. NXE looks beautiful on the monthly. Check out the NXE. I also like the PR on the monthly. I mean, that is much, much better than USO. Look at the 45-degree 20. Look at the nice drop into the 20. So this needs to take out last month's high, which is 1445, let's say 1450. And then the NXE already triggered So we need another entry on it because it's kind of a little bit late. But those two charts, okay, I can see these retesting the highs, but not so much USO. And that's my take on energy in general.
Okay, all right, JR, I'll throw it to you because you talked about utility sort of having, long-term secular tailwinds. What do you think of the oil market here?
You've had a strong reaction on the Israel-Iran stuff. Going back to you, so your overhead supply is 76.31. That's your most traded volume, and it's not an easy chart to trade here at all. Just looking at where we are in terms of most traded volume in crude futures, you're looking at 72 3/4. You're in a multi-year balance range here between 80 3/4 and 64 3/4, and until you have a convincing push past 81 and a new base forming here, that upside 93.60 target is not going to be in contention. So this is, while I do believe crude may be going higher, there's no actionable technical plan here for a short order long.
Okay,
you're right at a major overhead supply ledge at 72 3/4.
Okay, all right. Derrick, are you following the energy trade? Are you involved here at all?
Sure. I mean, I do have a position in Chevron, but as far as oil itself goes, to echo what these guys just said, the chart of USO is very, very sloppy, and I really don't want anything to do with that chart. And I think that the qualitative fundamentals are also very mixed. You have the Mideast tensions, which can help create a bid under oil, but you also have Saudi Arabia came out on the 26th and basically said that they're going to increase the supply of oil. That hit the price down. And then Saudi Arabia came out again this morning and they said that I think that they basically established concerns that OPEC countries are going to produce above their limit, and said that it could lead to $50 a barrel worth of oil. So I think you kind of have a mixed picture from the qualitative fundamental perspective. You have a really, sloppy looking chart. So it's not something I want to do anything with. I do think that the energy stocks will outperform the commodity because, especially if you're looking at like the oil majors, ExxonMobil, Chevron, they've got these massive buybacks in place. So they're returning, capital to shareholders there, and they're actually producing things at a profitable level. So I like the stocks better than I like oil itself. And then it's some of these more alternative energy names that are interesting and in play, like some of the uranium names, like a CCJ, or I know that myself and some of the folks on my team that I work with have been trading like an SMR on some days recently. So there's been opportunity in some of these more nuanced energy stocks that are maybe trying to step up as plays related to artificial intelligence and all the increased electricity use that's going to be stemming from that. So I think that there's trades out there, but oil itself, it's not something I want to be too involved in.
Okay, so speaking of things that suck up electricity, Bitcoin is also huge topic of conversation. We on our little pre-call meeting, Derrick brought it up, and we've been talking about Bitcoin a lot. So Derrick, we'll just start with you here. Are you a buyer of Bitcoin?
So I'm a trader. I trade stuff that moves. I trade stuff that gives good technical setups. I sometimes trade companies that I think are worthless. I traded Mara to the long side yesterday as a scalpy type of trade, day trade where I was able to make a few dollars. Bigger picture, I don't believe in crypto at all whatsoever. And I know that that's a comment that can get under the skin of people sometimes. I've been involved in the space. I've even mined myself in the past. I just can't get anyone to present to me an actual use case for this crap. It's not acting as digital gold. Gold's through the roof. Gold's trading great. Crypto, Bitcoin can't break out. Is trading lower with the market recently. It's not a currency. I can't go buy anything with it. I don't understand any value in crypto at all. So I'm not a trader. I'll trade the opportunities that are in there. I'll put stop losses out. I'm not afraid to buy the really big potential breakout that everybody's been looking at in crypto. But as far as actually owning this stuff, I'm out. I want to be involved in companies that actually produce things. When I buy Apple and when I buy an iPhone, I know that as an investor in Apple, and I just bought this iPhone, I just contributed to their bottom line. That doesn't exist when it comes to crypto. And in an end of the world situation, if you want to try to point to that, well, good luck getting on your computer anyway to try to get your crypto out of your cold storage or whatever. You're better off having gold buried in your backyard.
Yeah. Interesting. One real world application I've seen is I know an attorney who all of her clients are in Colombia, and they typically pay her in enormous bricks of cash. But it became such a problem traveling back from Colombia with like $100,000 or $200,000 in cash in a bag that she now gets paid in crypto.
Well, I guess I should add that there is a use case for crypto. If you want to launder money or you want to be able to buy drugs or do bad things, then you can be involved in crypto. But for me, I'm out.
By the way, we are now accepting donations in crypto.
I'll take that.
Yeah, our friend Rick is saying Derek drops the mic. Frank is saying, tell us how you really feel, Derek. LOL. Love it, Derek. So, all right, Sami, I'll go to you, since Sami is infamous for buying Bitcoin in a parking lot of all places years ago. So, Sami, what? All right. So, I think I don't know if I'm the only one. I think Bitcoin, the chart at least, I own some Bitcoin, but I think it looks like crap. What do you think of Bitcoin here, Sami?
Okay, so just to follow up on what Derek said, he's right. He's not wrong about Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is the currency that you get paid for letting the blockchain network run on your machine. So that's why Bitcoin was invented. It's to be able to actually run a decentralized blockchain technology on the people's machines. So that's the concept. Now it became a very speculative, and you could trade it. So but that's beside the point. But that's the value of Bitcoin, is that it actually supports something that's valuable, which is the blockchain technology. Now, as far as whether I view it as a good investment or not, I never think like that. I always think, does it look good long term, short term? Does it not look good? I don't care what Bitcoin's intrinsic value is. It could be worth zero and you could still make a lot of money. It could be worth zero and you could also still lose a lot of money if you bet against it. So I never think about the intrinsic value of a stock, a company, or Bitcoin. I'm only interested in making money. So if the chart looks good, even if it's total crap, I'll buy it. So okay, so with that in mind, on Bitcoin, so here's what I like about Bitcoin is that it put in a high. Am I showing the charts? I think I am.
Yep.
It's putting in a high. It put in a higher low last week, or I mean, this is the weekly chart. This is the IBIT. It looks terrible, but that's what I'm using right now. So it put in a higher low, and by taking out that pivot, it put in a higher high over here. So here's what needs to happen in order for Bitcoin to explode, in my opinion. You heard it from me. IBIT, we need to fail on the sell setup right here. So we need to take out this bar's high. If we can take out $38 on IBIT, the sky is the limit, in my opinion. So we have that higher low. There's also Ethereum, ETHE. We just need to take out that double top, and it will trigger a monthly buy setup on ETHE. You see it? It's a beauty. It's lovely. Over 2304. So I'm already in because I don't want to wait. I'm already in from before. But those are your numbers. So if you're you're not in, you're looking to get in, I just gave you the numbers. I told you what needs to happen. Bitcoin needs to fail on that sell setup that it just formed on the weekly chart. In other words, if you're looking at the IBIT, is this IBIT? Okay. If you're looking at the IBIT, it needs to take out 38. On Ethereum, I think it was 2305 or something. That's what needs to happen. And then after that, I think the sky is the limit for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's my take on crypto.
Okay. Okay. So I know, Derek, we're going to continue the Magic Internet money discussion in just a couple minutes, but I know Derek has to leave early. So Derek, any names you like here? You like right here? Any opinion on the market you want to share?
My opinion on the market is similar to when we discussed last week, which is that I'm still not bullish. I haven't gotten any real bull confirmation on this market. The SPY and the Qs had a great great close on the last day of September, but I felt that that was more related to end of month, end of quarter kind of forced rebalancing flow than anything else. And then immediately we saw those gains get erased yesterday, and this market continues to be heavy to me. After the end of last month, we've had $14 billion of positive gamma roll off on the market. So we have a much more free moving index than we had in the last week of September. So there's good trading opportunity here in October. I'm still looking for a deeper pullback to come in, which is eventually something that I want to buy. And I tend to be an optimistic individual. I tend to be more of a bull, but for the moment, while I do still have some longs on, I've been really focused on a lot of speculative trades to the short side and on the index level, which did really well. Tesla on this breakdown today, this morning was great on those numbers. So when those opportunities are coming in, or Apple yesterday, when it lost the 230 breakout level the very next day after it broke out, that was also an incredible shorting opportunity. I'm trying to come in on the break back down on some of those levels when the technicals confirm the thesis, and then I'm trying to see what sort of follow through I can get. It's an interesting bounce back this morning, but I think that this bounce back is going to be short-lived.
Okay, thank you, Derek. And so Derek has to run. Let's all congratulate him for his second straight week of dominating two truths and a lie. So everybody in the comments, congratulate Derek for being the world champion.
Yeah.
Okay,
thanks a lot, guys. These rock. You know, I love working with JR and Sami and Mike. You're okay sometimes also. So you know, we should definitely continue to do these, and I'm going to make sure next week I got more time available. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Derek. Okay, all right. All right, now we've lost Derek. We can have some fun. We can make some real trouble now that he's gone. Okay, JR, I don't think we've talked about Bitcoin that much. Do you have any opinion on the magic internet money?
I always tell my traders, Bitcoin may not be the hedge against inflation everybody said it was, but it's a fantastic hedge against peace of mind and wealth creation. So there's always a positive aspect to that. That being said, I trade it. We bought the bottom of the H setup at the declining channel back in early July, around the 5,500 handle, and sold it right into the into the pivot high anchor around 65,000. So caught a really nice move there. And basically now Bitcoin, really when I think about trading Bitcoin, I think about the dollar, right? So I need this. If you look at the DXY, it's basically retesting a key level of support around the 100 handle and forming a bit of a reversal wedge, and that's going to exert some pressure on Bitcoin, right? And what I really want to see is the dollar completely fall apart. Okay, we want to see Bitcoin more accessible to foreign markets, and we want to see Bitcoin over the top of value, which is around 68,000 and a half, 68.5. That's the setup I'm looking for. I did buy some Bitcoin last week, a small amount, and I'm getting ready for that move. But I need to see the dollar really come in, and I need to see continued China stimulus, and I think that's the combination that gets Bitcoin over our primary buy point, which is 68,500 or that neighborhood. Your most traded volume currently looks to sit around 63.3. So that's the level you got to get through in the short term.
Okay. Fun fact: I was once trying to hire a Bitcoin writer and crypto writer for T3, and nobody I interviewed could tell me what Bitcoin was. I would say, "Can you tell me what Bitcoin is in like third grade language?" And they would always go on some rant about it's a hedge against the Federal Reserve getting out of control and destroying the money supply. And I'm like, but what is it? And and nobody can answer. Though I don't know what Bitcoin is, and I own Bitcoin, so I'm as just much a fool as anybody else. Okay, so let's look forward a little bit in the market right now. So both of you guys were bullish for a really long time. I felt like on every weekly live stream I was asking you guys, and it was like, nope, still looks good. So I'll start with you, Sami. So what do you think here? Are we seeing like pre-election jitters or something? Like, what do you see in the broader markets?
So can I? Am I showing? Yeah, I'm showing the charts. So guys, so we keep it stupid simple or simple stupid, whatever. This is bullish. Like, I don't care what anybody says to the contrary. This is bullish. The chart is going like this. It's not going the other way around. It's going up. This is bullish. That's the cues. The SPY is at all-time high. How can we say this is bearish? How? Like, this is bullish. Now, is it a little bit sloppy? And do we have a reversal bar maybe last week and we could maybe dip a little bit? Sure, that can happen. But the overall bias on the market should be to the upside, should be bullish, not bearish. That we've had multiple attempts to break down and then only to see the market get bought. Multiple attempts. And I'm a natural bear. I really am. I went full-time April 7th or 8th of 2007 is when I went full-time. Well, guess what happened a few months later? The whole market collapsed, and I learned to trade to the downside. That's the only thing you could do and make money back in the day. So I'm a natural bear. I feel much more comfortable actually playing short than long, but the market is undoubtedly bullish. It's just got a little bit sloppy, as I've been saying every week when I do the weekly video on YouTube. So that's it. It's just sloppy. In terms of the election, here's how I think about the election. People ask me, do you think Biden would be? I mean, not Biden. Harris would be better, or Trump? Which candidate does the market want? I think either candidate is not going to make it. Whoever gets elected is not going to. It's not going to matter to the market, because with Trump, you get maybe the most pro-business president in the history of the country. The market likes that, being pro-business, right? Tax cuts, not going to raise the taxes on corporations. That's good for the market. But you also get the other side, which is the market doesn't like, is the uncertainty. It can be wild a little bit. You could do, certain things that are maybe unexpected. With Harris, not as pro-market, pro-business, of course, obviously, but more maybe of what we saw the last four years in terms of so you get continuity and steadiness, so to speak. So I think either candidate, the market will, if the market is bullish, will just continue higher. If the market is, but it's not going to reverse, it's not going to turn based on which candidate is elected, because both candidates have pluses and minuses, at least when it comes to, I'm talking about the market here. I'm not talking politics, I'm just talking about the market. So I think both candidates will be okay. The market will be okay with either of them winning the election. So I'm basically completely discounting the fact are a few weeks away from elections. I'm completely discounting that. I could be just naive and wrong about it, but I told you what my reasons are for not giving it any thought, basically.
Okay, I'll throw the question at JR. Who should we vote for? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm penciling Washington Adams personally.
Okay, so do you think the election really matters much for the market going on here?
Well, I told you last time, I look at the U.S. economy as a giant oil tanker, and it really takes a lot to rattle it. That being said, and I really don't think whoever's in the White House is going to make it a big difference. If you look at the market over the past 50 years, that's your proof right there, right? Whether we have Democrats or Republicans in the White House, the S&P 500 continues to trudge higher. That being said, there are some things that I think do concern the market. And I have absolutely no political opinion on this whatsoever, as you all know. But if the talk of a tax on unrealized capital gains happens to materialize, I think that will have a very serious material effect on markets and investment overall and capital allocation. So there are some caveats. I generally agree with what Sami is saying, but I do think that higher corporate tax rates and unrealized capital gains tax could be definitely impactful.
Okay, yeah, and in terms of this whole issue of people spreading doom and gloom, for either candidate or whatever, it seems like a well-documented phenomena that the bear case always sounds more impressive. It always sounds smarter, and the bull case always sounds simplistic and naive.
My mentor, when I was coming up, he said, "Listen up, pay attention. This is the most important lesson I'm ever going to impart onto you." Okay, he said, and he used to call me numbnuts. That was his surname for me. So he said, "Listen up, numbnuts." He said, "Being a bear, as a novice trader, I was obsessed with shorting everything that moved." And he said, "Listen, long term, being a bear in the market is going to become a very expensive habit for you. You're going to be right once in a while, okay, and then it's just going to become a very, very expensive habit." And he was 100% correct. It's really long term. It does not pay to be a bear. It requires a lot more finesse and timing to be a bear than a bull. So, I think that's really important. If you look at what the S&P 500 has done over the past 30, 40, 50 years, you see you see a very, very market secular trend higher. That being said, I am also really bullish on the market. We've been doing this for months and months. I had a 5,700 and a 5,800 target for the SPX from way back. We've hit almost all of my upside targets. That being said, currently we have a different type of situation, and I think the market is going to want to test some of those highly traded areas. Q specifically 474.69, and then 459.60 thereabouts in the Qs. Spiders are much better. The spiders are at the top of value from July 17th to present. So I'm looking for a retest of 559 and a quarter or thereabouts. Call it 559 and then 550. That being said, I'm very bullish on the markets overall, and I strongly believe we finish the year higher.
Okay, I'll give both these guys a lot of credits because I've been doing live streams with both of them for months, and it's not my job to come in here and dictate opinions or try to push things in any way, but I've actually been surprised a lot at them hitting me over the head again and again and again. Yeah, I'm still bullish because, like, in terms of what does best on social media, it's like the wild hot take, like we're about to crash. But these guys have been pretty consistently bullish, not only on stocks, but also on gold. And both of them were also on Tesla in a big way earlier in the year. And our friend Scoop C is voting Romero Abusaad, which I agree with. Wait, neither of you guys were born in the United States. So, but we can find it. We can fix that. We can finagle something. We'll convince them. I think if the people want it, they will have it. Okay, so let's close out with just the names everybody likes into next week. Sami, you went over a bunch before, but very quickly, could you share what you like?
In terms of names?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one I like as a swing, the EOSE. If it can take out, I think 307 is the high, but let's just say 310. So I like the EOSE. Is that energy? No, it says technology. So I like that a lot. We got the WVE this morning. That looks good too, but I it's up a lot already, but it had a nice hourly breakout. These are swing trades. I like the Core Z as a Bitcoin stock. That's a beautiful daily buy setup on the Core Z. Maybe if you're not in already, wait a little bit, and then the next attempt to go higher is the one that I would take. If you want something that's boring but looks really good, is the VZ. It's a nice weekly chart, 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern. So the VZ over like 45, 40 or so. It's 36, something like this. But let's just say over 45, 40. That looks good. Those are some names. I have a lot more, but I mean, those are some names. I like the CDNA. We played the CDNA at $16 and got out at 33 CDNA. So this was a really nice play for us in the newsletter this year. I did it 3 times, and twice at 16, one at 16.21, one at 16.26 was the entry, and it exploded. And my target was the 208, and it got to 34, I think. It got to 35 almost. The target was 33, so it got to the target, but it's starting to look good again. So I like the CDNA. What a beautiful chart on the monthly. It's up a little bit, so this wouldn't be a short-term trade, more as a long-term trade. So I always have some ideas. It just depends on what the person wants, long-term, short-term, so to the downside, to the upside. Twilio I still like a lot as a long-term play. So that's something that I like and I have. So those are some ideas. Take what suits you, what makes sense to you. Never buy anything because some guru says to buy it. Always do what makes sense to you, because if it makes sense and you agree with it, then you can hold on to it. You're not going to get shaken out as soon as it comes in. So that's what I recommend. Don't take my ideas, just because I'm saying I'm talking about them. Take only what suits your personality and what makes sense to you and what you agree with, because then you can manage it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to. So those are some names that I like.
Okay, so Sami, while we have you, can you give us a quick update on Tesla, since it
So Tesla got
killed? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So Tesla, we had the TSLL, and target was $14 on it. Take a look. It got to target 1. We had 2 positions. One right here was entered into, and one right here. And target 1 was 14. Target 2 is hard. It's gonna take a while to see this Tesla, or this TSLL, but to see Tesla get out of that monthly base. So target 2, I'm thinking, the all-time high or up here, 350, somewhere up here. But that's going to take time. But for now, Tesla reached the target. This is a weekly buy setup. It got to the prior high. That's your target. And I picked $14 weeks and weeks ago, and it got to $14. So that's perfect. Now it's, I know it gapped down today. I'm still not bearish on it, but it's probably going to be sideways, maybe a little bit bearish, maybe a little bit bullish, but probably going to be stuck in a range for a while, and hopefully eventually starts to move back up, because the monthly chart looks good.
Okay, JR, I'll pass it to you. What do you like here?
So just to hold on, let me. We were also very bullish Tesla. My upside target was 260. You have a big call wall there, and it seemed like a natural area to make a graceful exit. Let me just get my chart here. Sorry, I'm not as sharp as Sami. Can you guys see my chart? It takes me a while to.
Yep, we're here.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. So, I'm a upper end of the right side of the chart kind of guy personally. So I like to take, breakouts into all-time highs and a lot of continuations. I'm watching General Electric here. This needs to base for a while, but you get through 198, 200, and I think you have a really nice potential move to 280. American Express obviously has had a huge run. I would love a dip to 230 to 225 in American Express for an entry. Dollar Tree, we called the short idea on Dollar Tree on Sunday. I think this has room to 50. RNA, this is a newer issue. You had an IPO-based breakout here off a sharp V, and I'm looking for a weekly base. This needs 3 or 4 more weeks, okay? And I'm looking for about a $24 measured move higher to about $75. ELF was another short idea. Now, on the weekly for daily, weekly, you have a bearish consolidation here. I'm looking for a weekly to 100, 200 on $76. Palantir, I'm looking to buy every dip. If you look at the breakaway gap anchored VWAP intraday, every time it hits 36 and a quarter, you got about $1, $2 move. It's been very reliable as an intraday scalper. Starbucks, despite their headwinds, I'm watching this monthly declining tops line and this weekly base here. It's building pressure, and over 99.5, I think you get a really nice retest of the 120 handle. MSTR, as far as the Bitcoin names, is my favorite. You're getting a very tight consolidation here on the monthly, and I think Bitcoin over 68,000 takes you to potentially 230, 240 in MSTR or higher. So watching that. GEV, obviously, this one has rocketed into the outer stratosphere. I'm looking for a retest of the 225 handle. Slow schematic, either a flag, a base, a falling wedge snapback. I'm just waiting for it to come in. Zillow Group, I've been watching this one on the monthly base for a while. I missed the 58 breakout. I missed basically two key breakouts here, but now watching this for potentially a daily buy setup, it's got to hold the weekly 200. Just watching it. Yum Brands has a gorgeous monthly ascending triangle breakout that is on watch through 142.70, 143. I think this one has a ton of upside potential. The measured move here would be the base of the triangle, something like that. 191, 192. And Robinhood, this one got so beaten up. You already had it had a beautiful monthly base breakout. I think, Sami, you may have taken this one. I think you mentioned that you took this one. I'm looking for monthly continuation higher. It's potentially room to $35. So those are the things I'm watching.
Okay, beautiful, guys.
Notice the yen is moving back up. When we started the stream, I said there was a buy setup on it. It doesn't look like it's gonna close weak. So that's the leveraged FXI is actually looking up. So we may not be at a top just yet in the China stocks.
Okay, awesome, guys. So big question for the audience right now. This is very important. Should we have episode 3? Type yes or no in the chat. It feels like the Braintrust is dominating and ready to take over the world. So let us know in the chat. Should we do this again? Yes or no? Be honest. We're not afraid. First, we're getting yeses. Scoop, Frank, Patrick, Mike, even God's child is saying yes. If God's child is saying yes, I feel like we don't have a choice. Okay. So we're going to let everybody go. I can tell Sami's itching to get back trading. Thank you to everybody. And of course, Derrick is absent. But again, we're going to congratulate Derrick for taking the championship today. So thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Peace.
Take care, guys. Pleasure.